There is a law that governs every success story the world has ever known. It is not written in any book, nor is it taught in school. It lives quietly behind the eyes of those who have mastered themselves. It is the law that transforms invisible thoughts into visible wealth. The law that turns imagination into empires. It is the secret law every millionaire lives by, whether they know it or not. You cannot see it, you cannot touch it, but you can feel its presence the moment you decide to stop being a spectator of life and start being its architect. This law does not care about your background, your education, or your circumstances. It only responds to one thing, the vibration of your belief expressed through disciplined action. Every person who has risen from nothing to greatness, from obscurity to influence, has aligned themselves with this law consciously or unconsciously. They have discovered through struggle or intuition that success is not a matter of chance but of cause and effect. You do not stumble upon greatness. You design it. You build it from the inside out. The universe does not reward the dreamer. It rewards the dreamer who acts. The man who sits in silence envisioning his empire is no different from the man who wastes his time in doubt unless he moves, unless he dares, unless he decides that today is the day the dream becomes real. And so, this law begins with one sacred principle. Whatever you plant in your mind and nourish with emotion and faith must manifest itself in the world around you. Your mind is not a container for thoughts. It is a factory that manufactures your destiny. Every image you hold long enough, every belief you repeat often enough, becomes a command to the universe to rearrange itself in your favor. If you understand this, truly understand it, you will never again say the words, "I can't." Because every "I can't" you speak is an order given to the invisible forces that shape your life. This law demands responsibility. It does not tolerate laziness or excuses. It does not bend to your comfort. It bends to your clarity, your persistence, and your belief. It will test you not to punish you, but to measure how much truth lives in your desire, because only the sincere are granted its rewards. The secret law is simple, but never easy. It whispers, "As within, so without." If you want to change your world, you must first change the pattern of your thinking. If you want wealth, you must first think in abundance. If you want power, you must first believe you deserve it. If you want freedom, you must stop enslaving yourself to fear. This is where most people fail, not because the world is unfair, but because they attempt to change the outer world while remaining the same inside. They want success without growth, reward without sacrifice, transformation without discipline. But the law cannot be cheated. It sees through every disguise, every half-hearted effort, every shallow intention. The moment you decide to live by this law, everything begins to change. You start to notice that your environment bends to your will. Opportunities appear where there were none. People are drawn to your energy. Circumstances begin to align in your favor. Not because the world suddenly changes, but because you finally did. Your thoughts are the architects. Your emotions are the builders. Your actions are the bricks. And every day, with every decision, you are constructing the house you will live in tomorrow. If that house is filled with fear, self-doubt, and hesitation, it will collapse the moment the storm arrives. But if it is built on faith, vision, and relentless persistence, it will stand like a fortress against every challenge life sends your way. So, ask yourself, what have you been building? A palace of strength or a prison of fear? A foundation of courage or a castle made of excuses? The answer will tell you everything you need to know about the life you are living right now. This is not magic, it is mastery. The mastery of thought, the mastery of emotion, the mastery of self. And that mastery begins the moment you stop asking for the world to change and start demanding that you change. Because once you do, the law responds. It opens doors you never saw. It removes obstacles that once seemed immovable. It brings people, resources, and ideas that seem to appear by coincidence. But they are not coincidences. They are confirmations, evidence that you have aligned your inner world with the order of the universe. That is the hidden law. It does not care what you want. It only cares who you are becoming, because what you attract is not what you wish for, it is what you are. And the moment you become the kind of person who deserves success, success becomes unavoidable. Everything in existence is governed by law. Every effect has a cause. Every result you see in the world, wealth, poverty, happiness, misery, love, or loneliness, is a mirror reflecting an invisible cause. Nothing happens by accident. Nothing appears by luck. The world is not random. It is mathematical. It is exact. It is precise. You cannot plant the seed of fear and harvest confidence. You cannot plant the seed of laziness and expect abundance. You cannot plant the seed of doubt and expect faith to grow in its place. Whatever you sow in the garden of your mind must eventually appear in the field of your reality. Most people live as if they are separate from this truth. They believe success is a mystery, a gift given to the lucky few. They chase opportunities, not realizing that opportunities are not found. They are created by vibration. When your mind vibrates on the frequency of purpose, life begins to move in harmony with that signal. The right people, the right timing, the right resources, they do not arrive by coincidence. They are pulled by the magnet of your conviction. But this is where the law tests you. It asks, what are you willing to do to prove your belief? Because every belief that is not expressed through disciplined action is only imagination. An imagination without action is the graveyard where dreams are buried. When you take action, you activate the law of cause. You become the source, not the effect. You stop waiting for life to change because you are now the one who changes it. You begin to understand that wealth is not something you pursue, it is something you attract by becoming valuable. Happiness is not something you find, it is something you create by living in alignment with purpose. Success is not a prize, it is a reflection of who you have become through discipline, persistence, and faith. Look around you. Everything that exists, the cities, the bridges, the art, the technology, the empires, began as an invisible thought in someone's mind. That thought, when nourished by emotion and executed through relentless action, became cause. And that cause produced effect. Every invention, every masterpiece, every fortune ever built is the offspring of this same universal principle. The problem is, most people live only as effects. They react to circumstances instead of creating them. They complain about what they don't have instead of generating what they need. They spend their energy adjusting to conditions when they could be the ones shaping those conditions. They live by default, not by design. But the Creator, the true master of this law, knows something others do not. He understands that life will not give him what he wants. It will give him what he commands through focus, discipline, and unwavering belief. He does not wait for permission to act. He does not wait for the perfect time. He creates the time. He creates the opportunity. He creates the result. That is the power of cause. When you move with purpose, the universe responds with momentum. When you act with clarity, uncertainty dissolves. When you believe completely, doors appear where walls once stood. It is not magic, it is law. Think of your thoughts as blueprints. Your emotions are the fire that gives them life. Your actions are the tools that carve them into reality. And together these forces form a triangle, the triangle of creation. Remove any one side, and the structure collapses. So if you think without emotion, your ideas remain cold and lifeless. If you feel without action, your passion burns out in frustration. If you act without thought, your energy scatters without direction. Only when all three align, thought, emotion, and action, do you become a true creator. Every successful person, whether they know it or not, operates by this formula. They think with clarity, they feel with conviction, and they act without hesitation. And through this trinity, they become unstoppable. This is the law of cause and creation. And once you understand it, the world stops being a mystery. You no longer ask, why is this happening to me? Instead, you ask, what am I causing? Because you realize you are not the victim of circumstance, you are the author of it. The one who masters cause never fears effect, because he knows he can always create another. He knows that failure is just feedback. That loss is just a correction. That rejection is just redirection. He understands that every setback is simply the universe asking one question: how badly do you want it? And if your answer is strong enough, the law will always yield, because it must. It cannot resist a mind that is certain. It cannot deny a soul that acts with faith. It cannot ignore a human being who decides that nothing will stop him. You are the cause. Your life is the effect. And once you accept that truth, you hold the key to creation itself. Belief is the foundation of all creation. It is the unseen force that moves mountains, opens doors, and bends reality in your favor. Without belief, every action becomes weak, every dream becomes distant, every effort becomes empty. But with belief, even the impossible begins to obey you. Belief is not a wish. It is not hope. It is the quiet certainty that what you desire is already yours, waiting for your readiness to receive it. It is the unshakable conviction that your vision will materialize, no matter what the world says, no matter how many times you fail, no matter how long it takes. Faith is belief in motion. Belief is the seed. Faith is the water. Belief is the plan. Faith is the persistence. Belief is what you hold in your mind. Faith is what you express through your actions, when there is no evidence that you are winning. Most people misunderstand faith. They think faith is about religion or blind trust. But true faith is discipline, the discipline to keep walking in darkness when your mind screams for proof. It is the courage to continue building when the world tells you to quit. It is the power to stand up after every fall and say, I am not done yet. Every great achievement is born from this invisible partnership between belief and faith. They are the twin pillars that hold the structure of every dream. One cannot exist without the other. Belief without faith is fantasy. Faith without belief is labor without vision. Together they become unstoppable. You can always tell the difference between the person who believes and the person who only hopes. The one who believes moves differently. He walks with quiet power. He speaks with certainty. He acts as if the result has already been decided. And because he lives from that conviction, the universe has no choice but to follow his lead. The law responds to belief the way a mirror responds to your reflection. It cannot give you what you do not already hold within. If you see yourself as limited, the world will confirm your limits. If you see yourself as powerful, the world will bend to that image. If you see yourself as unworthy, opportunities will disappear before you reach for them. But if you see yourself as capable, deserving, and destined, the world itself will rise to meet you. Your belief sets the boundaries of your life. You can never rise above the image you hold of yourself. If you believe you are average, you will never reach for greatness. If you believe you are unlucky, you will never take the chances that lead to fortune. But if you truly believe that you were born to do something extraordinary, that belief becomes the blueprint of your destiny. This is not arrogance. This is alignment. Because when you believe in your purpose, you are not boasting. You are honoring the creative force that made you. You are saying, I trust the vision that was placed in my heart. And that trust, that faith, is what turns invisible dreams into tangible reality. You must learn to protect your belief the way a warrior protects his sword. Do not allow doubt, fear, or the opinions of others to dull its edge. Guard it against negativity. Feed it with affirmation, gratitude, and progress. Because belief, like fire, dies if it is not fed. And here's the truth most people never understand. Faith is not the absence of doubt. Faith is the mastery of it. Even the strongest minds feel fear, hesitation, and uncertainty, but they do not bow to them. They walk through them. They act in spite of them. That is faith. That is strength. That is power. When you begin to live by belief and faith, you start to notice how reality bends to your confidence. Things that once seemed out of reach begin to move closer. People start treating you differently. Opportunities reveal themselves where none existed before. It's not because the world suddenly changed, it's because you did. Your vibration rises. Your focus sharpens. Your energy becomes magnetic. And that magnetism pulls the circumstances that match your new frequency. You are no longer chasing success. You are attracting it. This is why the greatest men and women of history all shared one trait: they believed in themselves when no one else did. When the world called them crazy, they kept going. When doors slammed in their faces, they built their own. When no one saw their vision, they held it tighter. Because they understood that faith is not proven by comfort, it is proven by persistence under pressure. Every test, every trial, every setback you face is a question from the universe asking, do you still believe? And every time you answer yes, every time you move forward despite fear, the law bends a little more in your favor. Until one day, the thing you once dreamed of stands before you, real and undeniable. And in that moment, you will understand that faith was never about waiting. It was about becoming, because you cannot attract what you have not yet become. And belief pure, unshakable belief is the bridge between who you are and who you are meant to be. Discipline is the bridge between thought and reality. It is the force that transforms potential into power, dreams into results, and visions into achievements. Without discipline, belief is just poetry, beautiful, inspiring but powerless. Discipline is the proof of belief. It is how the invisible becomes visible. Every great dreamer must eventually face the same question. Are you willing to do what your dream demands? Not what you prefer, not what feels comfortable, but what is required. Because every vision has a price, and discipline is the currency. The undisciplined mind seeks comfort. The disciplined mind seeks growth. One looks for the easy path, the other for the right one. One is ruled by feelings, the other is ruled by purpose. And that difference, that single decision between comfort and purpose, separates mediocrity from greatness. Most people fail not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they never learned the art of consistency. They start with enthusiasm and end with excuses. They chase motivation instead of mastering routine. But success does not respond to motivation, it responds to repetition. The disciplined man shows up whether he feels like it or not. He does not wait for inspiration, he creates it through action. Discipline is not punishment, it is power. It is the ability to command yourself, to say, I will, and then follow through, to act with purpose even when every part of you wants to quit. It is not the loud roar of motivation. It is the quiet whisper of commitment that says, I said I would, so I must. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your spirit. Every time you choose focus over distraction, you sharpen your mind. Every time you take action despite fear, you build unshakable confidence. Discipline compounds. It multiplies your results until what once felt impossible becomes automatic. Think of a sculptor chiseling a block of stone. He strikes it again and again, thousands of times, with no visible result. But one day, a single strike reveals the masterpiece that was hidden within all along. That is discipline, the relentless repetition that reveals your greatness. The man who practices daily mastery, even in silence, becomes unstoppable. Because discipline makes you dangerous. It gives you control over yourself, and once you control yourself, no one else can control you. You become immune to distraction, immune to delay, immune to the chaos that destroys the weak. Your habits become armor. Your consistency becomes your weapon. Your discipline becomes your freedom. Do not misunderstand, this discipline is not about perfection. It is about direction. It is not about doing everything right, but about doing the right things long enough. You will fail. You will stumble. You will fall. But the disciplined mind does not stay down. It learns, adjusts, and rises stronger every time. Discipline is a choice you make every day. To wake up earlier than the world expects. To work when others rest. To persist when others surrender. To follow through on your promises when no one is watching. That is how you separate yourself from the ordinary. The secret most people never realize is that discipline eventually becomes joy. At first it feels like sacrifice, but with time you begin to crave it because it is the rhythm of progress. Discipline gives your life order. It turns chaos into clarity, effort into mastery, and time into achievement. The man who is disciplined never wonders if his dream will happen. He knows it's only a matter of time. Every action, every habit, every routine is a seed planted in the soil of your destiny, and the harvest will always match the seed. If you plant consistency, you will harvest success. If you plant excuses, you will harvest regret. The law of discipline does not lie. It will always give you what you've earned, not what you wished for. So ask yourself, are your actions in harmony with your ambitions? Does your behavior match your belief? Because the world does not reward what you say you want, it rewards what you repeatedly do. Discipline is not about force, it is about focus. It is not about restriction, it is about liberation. Because once you are disciplined, you are free. Free from the control of laziness. Free from the trap of inconsistency. Free from the chaos of regret. True power does not come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters every single day. And that is the essence of discipline. It is the daily act of aligning yourself with your highest vision, regardless of your emotions, regardless of your circumstances. That is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. You can talk about success or you can train for it. You can wish for greatness or you can work for it. The law does not respond to words, it responds to discipline. And once you master it, you become unstoppable. Because the disciplined do not hope for the future, they create it. Mastery begins when you stop chasing results and start becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts them. Because the law does not reward effort alone, it rewards alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in harmony toward one purpose, the universe cannot resist you. It must yield. It must obey. The master understands this. He does not fight against the current of life, he flows with it. He no longer doubts whether things will work out, because he knows he is the cause behind every effect. He knows that his inner state creates his outer world. And because he has mastered his mind, the world reflects that mastery back to him. The master of the law does not rush. He does not panic when things take time. He knows that the seed does not grow faster because he stares at it. He plants it, waters it, protects it, and trusts that the law will do its work. Patience is not weakness, it is confidence in universal order. Most people try to control everything around them: outcomes, people, timing, circumstances. The master controls only one thing: himself. He knows that when he controls his inner world, the outer world must follow. So he focuses not on force, but on flow. Not on resistance, but on resonance. Not on wishing, but on becoming. To master the law, you must first master your mind. Your mind is the gateway through which all creation flows. It can either be your greatest servant or your most dangerous enemy. If you fill it with fear, it will build a prison. If you fill it with faith, it will build a palace. It will never stop creating. The only question is what it is creating for you. Mastery requires awareness. You must become conscious of your patterns, your thoughts, emotions, and habits. Because you cannot change what you refuse to observe. The moment you become aware, you become powerful. Awareness is the first act of creation. It is how you reclaim authority over yourself. Once you have awareness, the next step is direction. You must decide with clarity who you are becoming. Not who you were, not who others think you are, but who you choose to be now. Because the law responds to identity. If you see yourself as a victim, you will attract situations that confirm that identity. If you see yourself as a creator, you will attract situations that require creation. Whatever identity you choose, life will mirror it back to you in form and experience. The master chooses identity deliberately. He wakes up each morning and says, I am the architect of my reality. He acts from that truth, speaks from that truth, and thinks from that truth until it becomes his natural state. That is alignment. That is mastery. The final step is surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up. It means letting go of resistance. It means trusting the process even when the path is unclear. It means releasing the need to control every outcome because you know the law never fails. When you surrender, you move with life, not against it. You stop forcing and you start flowing. You stop begging for results and you start receiving them. The master of the law is calm in chaos, focused in confusion, faithful in uncertainty. Because he no longer depends on conditions to determine his state, he determines his state, and the conditions adjust to match it. He has learned that success is not something you achieve, it is something you align with. It is not something you chase, it is something you embody. The moment you become the person who deserves it, success has no choice but to appear. That is the ultimate secret. That is the truth behind every story of greatness. The law always works, it only waits for you to do the same. So stand tall, think boldly, move with faith, act with discipline, speak with conviction, and never again doubt your power to shape your world. Because you are not here to wish for a better life. You are here to build it. You are not here to follow the law. You are here to master it. You are not here to live by chance. You are here to live by design. The secret law every millionaire lives by is not hidden in books or guarded by the elite. It is written in your own mind, waiting for you to awaken it. It is written in your habits, your focus, your words, your persistence. It is the invisible rhythm that connects who you are to what you experience. Once you master that rhythm, once you think, feel, and act as one, you stop living like a spectator and start living like a creator. And from that moment on, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Because the universe does not reward the lucky, it rewards the aligned. And when you become aligned, everything you desire becomes inevitable. That is the final truth, the hidden law revealed, the secret that every millionaire, every leader, every visionary lives by. You are the cause. Your life is the effect. And the moment you master yourself, you master everything.